Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Gauravani Pacharini. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi. Pastatya Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Vastabhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamini. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the verse again is, being very pleased by the unalloyed devotees of Maharaj Ambarish, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gave the king his disc, which is fearful to enemies and which always protects the devotee from enemies and adversities. Hare Krishna. So we first apologize that Ekavir Prabhu is not able to be with us this morning. We're very sad about that. However, Bhagavatam has to go on, right? Bhagavatam goes on every day. So we're really sad Ekavir Prabhu can't be with us. So this entire pastime of Krishna, as we understand it, is a plan. Everything that Krishna does is arranged, is prearranged. And so Krishna already knew what was going to happen. Of course, Krishna knows everything. He's the cause of all causes. He knows everything. And so he has an arrangement. And this arrangement is being made for Maharaj Ambarish because he's very pleased by the unalloyed devotion of Maharaj Ambarish. Of course, we have been hearing this pastime, and most of us, most of the devotees know this pastime of Maharaj Ambarish, and the essence of this pastime is that Maharaj Ambarish is just this very pure soul, very pure-hearted personality, and just very devoted and dedicated to Krishna. Everything that he did was fully in service of the Lord. Every single thing that he did. He had no desires for anything for himself, absolutely none. So he was a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Maharaj Ambarish was such a pure devotee that all the people that lived in his province, all his citizens, they were also worshipers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Maharaj Ambarish, he's one of those persons that when we study his life, when we read his life, and we read just even who he was and how he became Maharaj Ambarish, and just the lessons, the many beautiful, wonderful lessons that Maharaj Ambarish has given to us through the Srimad Bhagavatam by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have an opportunity to learn how to become a soul, how we are already souls, but how to connect deeply with our souls, how to connect deeply with who we are by this mood of Maharaj Ambarish, because he was so extremely dedicated to the Lord. I mean, he's like the example for us of the embodiment of someone that exemplifies full devotional service to the Lord. So there's a reason in this verse that Krishna gave his disc to Maharaj Ambarish. And in the verse, it is explained, Ekanta Bhakti Bhavena, Ekanta Bhakti Bhavena. We have a dear friend and someone that's very much involved with the Bhakti Center, and her name is Ekanta Bhakti. She is the wife of Yadunath Prabhu. And so when I saw this verse, I was just, I was thrilled to see Ekanta Bhakti. Her name is in this verse in the Bhagavatam. And she's so exemplary of someone that, this verse is explaining, because this Ekanta Bhakti Bhavena means someone that's performing unalloyed devotional service. Someone, again, that is fully dedicated in their pursuits of devotional life. And so my friend Ekanta Bhakti, she's like that. She's so sincere and so dedicated. And she's such a beautiful example for all of us. She's a part of our Grihastha Vision team. And her and her husband, they're just such gems, such beautiful gems. Ekanta Bhakti is one pointed indeed. Yes, thank you so much, Munajaya. Yes, she's just so dedicated. So this is here in the Bhagavatam, a Kanta Bhakti Bhavana, Bhavena, unalloyed devotional service. And so, as we all know, Krishna is always arranging some difficulty. This is just Krishna. This is Krishna's plan, He arranges some difficulties for all his devotees. Those devotees that are very dear to him, these difficulties, they're not really difficulties. They understand, this is arranged by the Supreme Lord. This is the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's not really a difficulty. I remember my own spiritual teacher. He, in his pursuit of devotional life, or in his execution of devotional service, of course, he would experience many different kinds of challenges, many different kinds of difficulties, especially because, he spent a lot of time in different countries. And so in those different countries, there was always some difficulty that he would face in the early years as a book distributor, especially in the Iron Curtain, in terms of the old Russian countries. He faced many, many difficulties. And then, of course, his service went on to Africa, and he faced their extreme difficulties. I mean, I remember he tells us a story of one difficulty he faced when he was in, I believe, Poland, one of those countries, can't remember. And this is, in the early days. And they were caught for distributing books. And he got locked up in jail for distributing books. And he was just in the jail. Of course, there's nothing that he could eat because, being a vegetarian and being locked up in the iron block countries, he couldn't eat. So he said that he would just be eating like carrots all the time. And while he was locked up in jail, he didn't know how he would get out of there. Because his teammates didn't even know that they had caught him and locked him up in jail. And he reminds us always that he would just pray. He would just pray to Srila Prabhupada, pray to Krishna, just pray. And somehow that mood of prayer and surrender to the Lord, beautifully arranged for him to get out of jail. So the Lord arranged this difficulty so that we, can hear about these kinds of difficulties later and see how the Lord protects the devotees. Another time I remember him sharing, he has so many beautiful stories about, having difficulties arranged by the Lord. And in Africa, he experienced so many different kinds of just amazing difficulties where sometimes people would even try to kill him. And yet, just understanding that the Lord will take care, the Lord is there, the Lord will protect him. I remember my own self being in Africa during the early 1980s. And I remember being in Ghana, I guess that's one country. My spiritual master sent me to Africa in 1980, and he sent me there in a one-way ticket, and I ended up being there for almost 10 years. And so in those days, we would go out and distribute books, and the way we would do that is we would just, as we do now, we do this now, I believe, we would just set up a table, and then we would set the books on the table, and we would just say spiritual books, and then people would just come over, and that way we would get crowds and crowds of people wanting to read Srila Prabhupada's books. So this one day, I remember doing my service the way I would normally do it. We're sitting there at the book table. Then all of a sudden, I just saw all these military, vans or trucks and things just going past where we were distributing, where we had our table. And they had guns and I was just like, what is going on? It was kind of amazing to see all these military, huge vehicles. And so we continued with our book distribution. And so then one devotee came in a car and in one of our vehicles, and said, pack up your books. You got to leave right now. There's a coup going on. There is a coup here in Ghana. They overthrown the president, whoever he was, And we're just like, oh, really? Okay. All right. So we packed up our books and got in the car and got back to the temple and stayed under the shelter of Lord Nrsingadev for some days. So the point is, the Lord always arranges some difficulty for the devotees, small devotees, big devotees, huge, not so big devotees. Whoever is aspiring to become a devotee will certainly experience some kind of challenge, some kind of difficulty. And that's to make us actually really depend on the Lord more. And for the pure devotees of the Lord, to make them glorious. Like Maharaj Ambarish, he is glorious. We study his life and we don't think so much of the difficulty he faced, but what must that have been like for him when we hear this pastime, that experience with Durvashi Muni, what must that have been like for him? So the Lord arranges. And these difficulties we see that when he arranges these difficulties, we see that something glorious comes out of it. Like when he lifted Govardhan Hill, right? And all the residents were just so disturbed. They were just so anxious and could not, they were just so not fearful because they knew that Krishna would give them shelter. They had full faith in the Lord. However, it was difficult. It was not that it was a difficult situation. I mean, Indra was like crazy. He was just like pouring torrents of rain. And so in most cases, if one doesn't have faith, one becomes very, very fearful of situations like this. And so here we see that Krishna, again, in all of these different pastimes, specific and most importantly in this pastime we're studying, we see that Krishna, he gives us protection internally and externally. Always there is the Lord's protection. Now, in order to have that, in order to really accept that protection and believe in that protection, it's very key to have faith that the Lord will actually protect us in every situation, in every circumstance. And one of the ways that we can develop this understanding that the Lord would always protect us is, of course, by hearing from Srila Prabhupada the pastimes of the great devotees. That's why we're today speaking about this pastime of Maharaj Ambarish. And so in the purport, Prabhupada mentions that a devotee is always engaged in the service of the Lord. The devotee may not be expert in self-defense. That caught my eye where Prabhupada says that. They may not be expert in self-defense. And so when we think of self-defense, we think of like karate or, we think of, we got to learn some martial arts, at least ladies, that's how we think. We got to learn some martial arts to protect ourselves. We might not think like the guys that carry the, Magnum, whatever, or, sometimes the guys, they're expert in knowing which gun or whatever, protection. They think gun protection. Ladies think I got to go learn some karate so I could hold somebody down or something. But that's not the kind of self-protection that the self-defense that the Lord is talking about here, that Prabhupada is helping us to understand. Self-defense is really understood in this purport as to take shelter. Self-defense, we must take shelter. And so in this material world, defending ourselves, really defending ourselves in the material world means taking shelter of Krishna. That's really what it means. We could do all these other things, of course. However, real defending depends on Krishna, because, as we know, the change of body is inevitable, right? This is inevitable. We don't die, but we do. However, we do change these bodies. And devotees, the reason we are aspiring, at least the reason I am aspiring to be a devotee, is because I've been given this great mercy, this great opportunity to not change into another body, not take another birth. And so I believe that. I sincerely believe that from the bottom of my heart. Whether or not I take another birth to serve the devotees, then fine, that's arranged by Guru and Krishna. However, I know that this other birth, taking another birth, is guaranteed for me in a better situation, and being able to always be with devotees and to always serve the devotees. And so because of that, personally, I keep aspiring to try to learn how to serve Krishna. How do I learn to serve Krishna? How do I take shelter of Krishna? What do I do to get the mercy of these great, wonderful devotees that have served the Lord, that have served Srila Prabhupada? How do I get that mercy? Because I want to practice self-defense. I want to practice that. So in order to take this full shelter of the Lord, as Maharaj Ambarish did, it's important for us to have faith that Krishna will arrange everything for us. We must, this is like Bhakti 101, right? When we come to devotional service, we learn, chant Hare Krishna. And why do we chant Hare Krishna? Because it strengthens our faith. And why do we want our faith strengthened? Because we don't want to take another birth. Why would we not want to take another birth? Because it's miserable in the material world. Absolutely miserable. People suffer in the material world. And the only way that the suffering is eased for us is when we take shelter of the Lord. Then material suffering, even though it may still be there, it's not the same for someone that is taking shelter of the Lord. And so we hear about that from Prahlad Maharaj. Prabhupada goes on to speak about Prahlad Maharaj. He was sure that the Lord would give him protection, right? And then he quotes this beautiful verse from the 7th canto. This is in the purport Prabhupada chants. He quotes this verse of Prahlad. And Prahlad Maharaj, he says, a devotee is always merge in the ocean of transcendental bliss, of rendering service to the Lord. And so when we hear again this pastime of Prahlad Maharaj, and we hear how this young boy had so much faith in the Lord. So he was so convinced that the Lord will protect him in any and every situation. Right? We hear that, and we hear how his own father, we sometimes hear this is the original story of child abuse, right? His own father just did these horrendous activities in order to break his faith, to break his conviction, to take him away from this shelter that he had taken of the Lord. He couldn't do it, though. His own father was not able to do it. And his father was very powerful personality. However, the process of bhakti is more powerful, always. And when we engage in the process of bhakti with faith and conviction, and we are committed by the grace and the mercy of the great devotees of the Lord, then there is nothing more powerful than this process of bhakti yoga. Nothing more powerful than engaging in devotional service. And so we know that engaging in devotional service, if we can just somehow become absorbed in even the first 2 of the 9 processes, which is hearing and chanting, just keep hearing, just keep chanting. If we could just keep doing those 2 of the 9 processes, then it's guaranteed that we will be defending ourselves with full conviction. It's guaranteed. We will become those conduits that not only will we be practicing self-defense, but we will be teaching others how to practice the self-defense, because we become so convinced and so committed. And this is the mood of the pure devotees. This is Maharaj Ambarish. This is what he's teaching us, how to become committed that the Lord will always, always be there. And so the Lord promises us this, right? Prabhupada says this in the Srila Prabhupada explains this in the purport. He gives us this verse, Kunteya Pratijana Hi Name Bhakta Pranashyati, that he says, oh, Arjuna, you may declare to the world that the devotees of the Lord are never vanquished. I mean, how powerful is that, right? Krishna is telling Arjuna that. And Krishna is sharing this with Arjuna for us, for our benefit. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we can really embrace this dialogue that Krishna is having with Arjuna, where he's saying, my devotees, these devotees, they're never, ever vanquished, never vanquished. And then later on in this same verse, in this same chapter, in this ninth chapter, Prabhupada, Krishna explains to us, actually, this is being explained. And Krishna says, the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart. The pure devotee, the pure souls. Maharaj Ambarish was in the core. He was in the core of Krishna's heart. This is why he got the disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, because he was in the core. Just imagine. I mean, in the material world, we try to be in the core of other people's hearts, right? And when we think that we're in the core of their hearts, we all get so excited and so happy. And we get, it's just like, we start seeing sunshine and bright things and everything look beautiful. But then it doesn't last, does it? It doesn't last. And so what happens when it doesn't last? Then we realize, oh, I need another shelter. I need another shelter. And then sometimes we just keep going, again and again and again and again, and not realizing that the shelter is to be in the core of Krishna's heart. That's where we need to be. That's who we really need, is to be in Krishna's heart. Not necessarily, I mean, it's wonderful when we are able to be in the core of devotees' hearts, of course, because there's nothing, devotees, there's nothing more precious in this world than being a devotee of the Lord. So if we can be in the core of devotees' hearts, then that's so very beautiful. I was speaking about when persons are not aware of Krishna, not aware of Krishna consciousness, not aware of the preciousness of being a devotee, then those persons, when they want to be in the core of other people's hearts, they always get disappointed. Always disappointment. There's always disappointment. And so, so Krishna is saying, so we're hearing here in the ninth canto that that Krishna is always in the heart of his pure devotees. Krishna is always in our heart, right? Krishna is always in the heart of the pure devotees. So of course, Krishna is in everyone's heart. Krishna is in every living entity. We hear that from the Adalila. In the first canto of the Adalila, we hear Krishnadas Kaviraj explains to us about the Lord within the heart, the super soul, Kishore Dakshai Vishnu. Krishnadas Kaviraj explains thoroughly about understanding the different aspects of Krishna, the different plenary expansions of Krishna. And we learn that Krishna within our heart is always there, no matter what, as a super soul. So Krishna is within the hearts of every living entity. However, Krishna says, my devotee do not know anything else but me, nothing else. Krishna, nothing else. And I do not know anyone else but them. Just imagine, Krishna, no, they don't know anyone else. Krishna doesn't know anyone else but his pure devotees, And so ultimately, all of us are really pure devotees. Prabhupada has said that. However, because of the modes of material nature, then we're in an unfortunate circumstance of being conditioned in a material world. And we have forgotten. We have forgotten this real essence of who we are, of being a pure devotee of the Lord. We have forgotten this. However, Srila Prabhupada is so very kind. He's so kind that he has given us everything that we need to know in order to remember that we are actually pure devotees, that we're actually in the core of Krishna's heart, and that Krishna is there within our hearts, and that Krishna means, for us, Krishna is everything, and for Krishna, we are everything. When we realize who we really are, at least when I realize who I really am, then I'll know. I have that understanding. So Prabhupada also says that if a person simply begins devotional service, just begin devotional service, just start the process. And how do we start the process of devotional service? Well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is so kind that he's given us the solution in this age of Kali, which is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the holy name of the Lord. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. However, just to begin the process, just to enter a temple and meet a devotee and read one of Srila Prabhupada's books or see the beautiful form of the Lord, just to begin the process that Krishna is protecting such persons. This is also confirmed for us in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Aham tvam sarva pavavyo moksha sami mashuchaha. Protection means immediately. Immediately. As soon as we see the smile of a loving devotee of the Lord, it begins. Our protection with Krishna begins, like we're seeing the beautiful smile of Kamaniya right here now. and that's the beginning. That's the beginning, because you want to know, why is she smiling like that? My life is miserable. What is she smiling about? And so when we ask that question, because we see the smile of devotee right then, the Lord within the heart, just that's it. We connect, and the Lord is there to protect us. And so, because the Lord is so kind and so merciful that he gives us guidance and protection, always, always. We just need to turn to the Lord, right? Just turn to the Lord. So then Prabhupada goes on to talk about this protection, how the protection of the devotees. So Krishna, in protecting Maharaj Ambarish, gave the disc, right, the Sudarshan Chakra, because he knew what was going to happen. He knew that this situation would turn into a place where, these events would happen with Maharaj Ambarish, and we know that Darvasha Muni there was going to be this whole drama. And we know that there was going to be offenses that was going to happen, and Krishna was going to protect his devotees. So he had given the disc even before all of the drama unfolded. And so Prabhupada says in the purport that the Sudarshan Chakra, the disc is always ready. It's just waiting. That disc is just waiting, right? Krishna is always ready to protect his devotees. And so this disc is available for all of us. Really, as we aspire to be a devotee, as we aspire to become devotees, we have Krishna's disc. Krishna has given us also his disc. And because this disc represents the protection and the care and the love of the Supreme Lord. And so if we see that Maharaj Ambarish, he had this disc, he knew he had this disc. However, when the drama unfolded, really with Durvasa Muni, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know. He was just like there. He just like, oh, okay. He's disturbed. All right. Okay. And then, of course, we know Durvasa Muni got very offensive. And so then this disc just appeared, because the disc is always waiting. See, this disc that Krishna has given to us is always waiting to protect us. We're just not always, at least myself, I'm not always cognizant. I'm not always remembering. I'm not always knowing, Krishna, your disc is right here with me to protect me. I'm not always thinking like that, right? I'm thinking, what am I going to do to protect myself? What am I going to do? like how am I going to protect myself? Oh, there's this, whatever, the coronavirus. Yeah, I got to go get some vaccines because that's going to protect me. Is it really? No. I mean, it is some, temporarily will protect our body. However, ultimately, it's not going to protect us because these bodies going to change. It's going to change, right? So ultimately, the protection is coming from the Lord because ultimately, what? We are not these bodies. Ultimately. Now, I'm not saying that we don't take care of our bodies because we do need our bodies to serve the Lord. We need our bodies. So if the vaccine is to help us to serve the Lord, wonderful, beautiful. However, at the same time, we can't get bewildered and think, oh, now I have this vaccine. This is it. I'm good. No, because something else can come down the line. I could get a heart attack, or I could get some other thing that could happen, something, because this body is not who we are. It's so temporary. It's not real. I mean, it's real and it's not real. Chincha beta beta tapa, real and not real. And so we always got to be in this consciousness, always to remember our real shelter, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Maharaj Ambarish, he took a risk, right? And so we as devotees, aspiring devotees, we're always taking risks on behalf of the Lord, always. May not be big risks in many situations, not big risks, not huge risks, but there's risks. And so, so Maharaj Ambarish, he took this risk. And this risk that he took was to not know what would happen, right? He took that sip of water to break his fast. And he didn't know that Rasamuni was gonna, create all this drama. He didn't know. And then he didn't know what to do after that. He just stood there. Bhagavatam explains, he just stood there like, what? Okay, all this drama is going on. And then the disc appeared. It's like, here's the disc. So Prabhupada, he closes this purport by letting us know that this disc is extremely fearful to the non-devotees. This, he called the Pratyanika Bhavayaham. Pratyanika Bhavayaham. And why is this disc so fearful to the non-devotees? Why? Because the non-devotees think that they're their bodies. That non-devotees don't have this knowledge. They're not so fortunate to have this knowledge that we're actually spirit souls, that we're part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So something that's important for us to always remember that's prevailing in the material world, is that people, because they think they're their bodies, they're always faced with anxiety and fear, always. Fear is just a part of their life. And so when people have anxiety and fear, and they live in anxiety and fear from not understanding who they really are, not being able to take shelter of really the eternal, who we are, eternal souls, then in that temporary consciousness that people have, that fear overtakes them, that anxiety overtakes them, and they live each day of their life being fearful of something, being fearful of someone or some situation or something that will change, because in the material world, people are afraid of change, so afraid. And so even in the material world, some people say there's no soul. And Arjuna, he argued this with Krishna in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He said, when Krishna was telling him, you got to fight, Arjuna, you got to fight. And Arjuna was like, well, what if there's no soul? And Krishna says, well, even, Krishna argues with him and says, even if there's no soul, Arjuna, even if there's no soul, why are you lamenting over chemicals? Your body is still chemicals. So unfortunately, the materialists, they don't know that the body is just chemicals. They have no understanding that the body is just temporary. And this is so unfortunate because this keeps them in fear. And so Prabhupada closes by saying, okay, he pre-closed what I just said. Now he closes and he says, Maharaj Ambarish, he was fully engaged in devotional service. His kingdom was free of all fear or adversity. So for the devotees, how do we become free from fear and adversity? Well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He solved that for us in this age of Kali. And he gave us the pristine medicine. When we think of medicine, we think, something not so nice. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave us the holy names of the Lord, the pristine holy names of the Lord. And by us calling on the Lord, just calling on the Lord's names, then we will become free from anxiety if we happen to maybe still have some. At least in my stage of aspiring to be a devotee, I certainly can say that I still have some fears. However, I know that by taking shelter of Krishna and by taking shelter of the two process, hearing and chanting, that I will become free, totally free from this conception, this misconception of fear in my life. And so in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he tells us, chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing, and playing musical instruments. The spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these great devotees, they're so excitedly encouraging us on in this mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because these pure devotees, they're relishing, like Srila Prabhupada, relishing the mellows of devotional service. And they're just so absorbed. And so we give thanks, and we give all our gratitude, we give all our appreciation to Srila Prabhupada for giving us an opportunity to dive into this ocean of devotional service, this beautiful ocean of devotional service that when we start tasting it, we just want more and more and more and more, because we start remembering, I am a soul dancing with Krishna. And so thank you, so much for giving me an opportunity. I'm so sad Ekavir is not feeling well. So this is why he wasn't here with me today. We like to do this together only because we want to inspire devotees to know that, relationships are important. Relationships are important. Teamships are important. And oftentimes together, we can do it better. Sometimes it's better together. At the same time, it's important that we can also do it alone. So today I took the challenge. It's like, okay, here I am. However, I just knew that there's all these beautiful and wonderful devotees here to give me support and love. And Adi Parish Prabhu is here. And so we thank you. I thank you for being here, Prabhu. Yes, so he is one of those glorious devotees that I aspire to serve. And I'm just so grateful that I've been able to know him in this lifetime. And so we thank Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you for your smile, Andrea. Very encouraging for me.
Jai, Haribo. Thank you.
Haribo. So there's some comments, corrections, some support. Adipurush Prabhu, anyone?
Mataji, you want to say something? Go.
No, I just want to appreciate how, the devotee there was massaging you. Is so important. Right. This is so wonderful. And it's so wonderful to see that this is the love of devotees. This is the care of devotees. And this is how gracious and glorious you are, that a devotee would want to, just ease whatever pain you might be experiencing as your body grows older.
Trying to keep me awake in class. They figured out one time the only way to keep me awake was to have me give class. But we're basking in your joy and your faith and your enthusiasm for devotional service. It's really, really very refreshing. And thank you so much. Well, glories to Prabhupada. Your spiritual master is empowering you in a wonderful way. And we love you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for your kind support. Yes, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he gave many more beautiful lessons, and I pray that I can only live those lessons and share those lessons. Thank you.
or Bhakti Tirtamara Shakti.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Anyone else would like to share a comment?
Mata, I would just like to say that you are a fountain of encouragement and joy, and I really needed to hear every word you shared today. So thank you.
Kamania, thank you for, being just an amazing supportive devotee. You're in Switzerland, and I know there's a time difference. And yesterday you were with us on the Grihasta Vision team. We did a panel discussion for the devotees, and Kamania was there, and I knew it was very late in the night for her. And here you are again in this morning. So
it's my desperation.
Well, your soul is connect. You are connecting with your soul. Your mind is connecting with your soul. What is that verse in Bhagavad Gita? That the mind, if we can the mind and connects with the super soul. That if we can tame the mind then will connect with super soul. So that's what it is. The mind has connected with super soul. Thank you, Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Vraja Lila Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Haribol.
I just wanted to first off send my prayers to Ekavira Prabhu.
Yes.
You did a beautiful job holding space for both of you, but I do miss his energy. He's such a sweet, sweet soul and just so deep, but still seems very approachable. So I just send my humble prayers out to him that I hope he feels better soon. And I also just wanted to give my appreciation. First off, I really appreciated hearing the stories from your Guru Maharaj. He is so inspiring. I read the Black Lotus book that was written about him. And
Yes.
I recently bought, as per your recommendation, well, I didn't buy them. I got them for my birthday, The Spiritual Warrior 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, beautiful.
And I'm just very inspired. But it's reading the books, it's different as opposed to hearing the stories from his disciples. So hearing you tell of his stories is just even more powerful. So I just wanted to really appreciate that. And then when you brought in your own anecdote of your own, it just, I don't know, maybe I'm just addicted to anecdotes and personal stories, but they always hit me really strongly. And they just make my heart like, just kind of really grow every time I hear them. So thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for your kind encouragement. Yes, that's Srila Prabhupada's mercy is Bhagavatam, is stories. Just so many stories, so many beautiful stories. This 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam has incredible stories. There's so much drama. I don't think we got to look into the material world to find drama. We can find drama in Srila Prabhupada's books and from his devotees. Devotees can tell us all kinds of different challenges they've experienced in aspiring to be pure, to remember that they're pure souls, because Krishna sends difficulties for us so that we can have stories, so we can tell the stories of how, I remember, sometimes I say to devotees, when they share their challenges, I said, 5 years from now, you look at that and you'll think, I can't believe that I went through that. I can't believe that actually happened. I can't believe, because it's a story. It's a story. And so so thank you, Andrea. Stories are connecting. They're very, very connecting. And I'm grateful that we could connect. And Andrea, we still haven't actually connected in person, like you know what I mean? We still haven't connected like online. And I believe that's my unfortunate situation, that I have not been able to get your mercy through WhatsApp or through whatever social media we use. So please don't give up on me, because I do need your mercy. And and it's so nice that someone sent you those books. See, Krishna, he's just so amazing. Because Andrea connected with me, and then I knew she needed those books. And then unfortunately, I just never followed up, which is really sad. However, Krishna, he saw what was lacking and he just added and did it. And he arranged for you to get those books. So Krishna got us. Krishna's got us. We got to believe it. Haribol. Anyone else? I think Prabhu told me that Danielle Prabhu shared that we're not greeting Shishira and Muralidhar at 8 o'clock. So we have a couple more minutes. Danielle Prabhu, let me know when it's time, please.
I think we have one more question. Pink Yogi of Harlem, you're welcome to speak.
Thank you. Hi. I sent you a private message. Can you just make note of that?
Pink, thank you. Jai, this is my friend from one of my previous life. I had a previous life with Muktananda, was my guru, and we have this connection. Okay, look in the chat from Pink. Andrea, okay, Kamania. Oh, you know, this tech thing for me is always kind of, okay. Once again, I have enjoyed your class. I've given you my info the last 2 times you hosted. Oh my God, but we still haven't connected. You can connect with me on WhatsApp. Okay, I have now got your WhatsApp, and you know, I don't want to make excuses. And I thought this morning, that I am in no way as busy as some of the devotees that are really out there sharing. However, for my capacity of sharing, I'm doing a lot for my capacity of sharing. And what's happening for me is I'm realizing that some of the things that I really need to give attention to are not getting the attention that I need to give. One of them is connecting with Pink, because I really genuinely, sincerely want to connect with you. However, like I will tell you today, I'm giving class this morning. I have a counseling session at 10. I have a meeting at 1, and I have at 5 o'clock a meeting with South Africa. That's my day. So in between that, it's this, you know, just trying to be a person in between all of that. This is just one day. And I am in no way busy like some of the people that are really out there. So I could just imagine what they might be going through, you know. So Pink, please forgive me, please, and please excuse me. Super Soul is letting me know, you know, you got to slow down. You got to slow down. Yeah, because my capacity is not the same as some of those persons that can do that. Because what's valuable for me, what's a value for me, and what's a need for me is to personally connect with people. That's my real value, to do it personally. And so I'm doing it more like kind of more, a lot of people. However, what gives me joy is to really connect with people personally. And so please excuse me.
Mata, can I just add one little thing? I'm sorry to jump in. I know that really is your great gift to connect one-on-one, but I can tell you from my own experience and from many other devotees who've told me the same thing, that you are so personable right here in Zoom on our screen, and we feel very, very nourished by you. So I'm grateful that you take this time, because otherwise I wouldn't have your association.
Thank you, Kavania. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's a blessing, encouragement. I'm not good with this Zoom thing.
Oh, great.
I said to Danielle Prabhu today, I said, could you put it on the screen? Put the verse on the screen? Because, you know, it's just like, okay, do the verse on the screen. Put it on. I was like, okay, can I just focus on the class? You do the verse on the screen. Yeah, so I just like to be me, and I'm really simple. I just really, I want to love and hug, you know. That's I want to give hugs and love. That's it.
That's how we feel virtually from you, Mataji.
Yes.
Love and hugs. Your transcendental words. It's for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Pink, for being patient with me. Thank you.
Jai. Thank you everyone for joining us. Unless there's any more questions, we can conclude here. Otherwise, Mataji, if you'd like to say anything final, you're welcome.
Thank you, Daniel Prabhu. Thank you for hosting us and for having your beautiful smile.
I'm praying it's replaced by Gorsharan's beautiful smile soon. Though I consider myself very fortunate to be here with you. So thank you.
Hare Krishna. Of course, we miss Garsharan also.
Yes.
So please offer our obeisances.
Yes.
Next time we come back, we'll be with Ekavira Prabhu.
Jai. We'll love that.
Jai. Haribol.
Thank you, everyone.
Haribol. Hare Krishna. Oh, 6 new messages.
Haribol, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Mata, Hare Krishna.
Haribol Kamaniya Prabhu. Haribol. Chitti Devi. Hari Chitra. Hare Krishna. Gaur Kumar Das. Okay. Amish. Haribol, dear devotees. Hare